I can't really remember when I fell in love with music, but I was probably pretty young. I remember, I think my earliest memory is listening to some Billy Ray Cyrus song, and then I think my first, I think, a little kid growing up in the 90s, early 90s, 2000s, Backstreet Boys. I think one of the first concerts my mom ever took me to was Backstreet Boys. And then I think Cisco opened. And then fairly young, I got into Linkin Park. I think a lot of kids in the 2000s did. I think Linkin Park was when I truly fell in love with music and the idea of potentially making music. I got obsessed with Mr. Hahn, samples, Mike Shinoda, Chester's vocals, singing. And that was like my first big, my dad bought me turntables. I learned how to scratch. And it's funny because Mr. Hahn scratches with his left hand, and that's how I learned, was to mimic him. So I ended up scratching with my left hand. I remember trying to track down all the samples he used so I can, replicate the scratches he did in songs. But it wasn't until 15 when I first started actually making music. Around this time, I was into underground music, Tech Nine, Insane Clown Posse, Cottonmouth Kings. So my first instance of making music was just rap. My dad bought me this thing called the DM2. It was this little sampler beat making thing, and I made my first beats on that. I think the first song I ever made was called The Dead. I don't even have a copy of that anymore. But this was in the summer, just got out of school, I was living in San Jose, and all my friends lived in Reno. And we had brought my best friend Corey to San Jose to come stay with us for the summer. And it was then that we created this rap group called Carnage, spelled with a K. And we wanted to be, like the underground scene. We wore face paint. We had this look. I was Shifty the Clown. He was Crazy K, spelled with a K. And we recorded 4 or 5 songs. I think the first song me and him recorded together was called Hard Times.
Through hard times, you get your rest up. Don't let people dish you or be fucked up. You get back up off the ground. Now get your ears ready for this.
I remember in 3rd grade, I fucking walked into class. I didn't know anybody in week 6.
And it was all my voice was terrible. The raps, were kind of boring. The lyrics were very simple, but I remember when we were working on this song called Gone, and we did this thing where we both said why, and hearing the way my voice and his voice sounded, we got that feeling oh, this is dope. This is something that's super cool. And I think that's the real feeling that we chase behind music, when listening back to what you make and being that's awesome. This sounds so cool, right? You get hyped, it's just a good feeling. you know, and I did the rap thing for a long time. Like, me and Corey ended up not being Carnage anymore. I moved around a lot, like Vegas, California, back to Reno. And in that time, I was just figuring out production, making beats with Fruity Loops, eventually using Reason by Propellerhead, and just working on music, doing solo stuff. I think I was 17, I started incorporating a little bit of awful singing into my music.
Had to go away to a special place where it's just you.
But still, my influences then were still the same. They were still the underground stuff, and obviously still Linkin Park. But I didn't know guitar or drums, and the most easily accessible kind of music was the rap music, because it just seemed like easier beats to make. You know, you don't have to worry about a whole band and doing all that. So I continued doing that. So one thing I didn't really mention is my obsession with masks since I was a little kid. It probably started when I met the wrestler Rey Mysterio when I was younger. My dad bought some wrestling tickets. We had to go pick them up. And what he didn't tell me was if you bought like a certain ticket tier or something, you got into a meet and greet to meet Rey Mysterio. Big wrestling fan, big Rey Mysterio fan. Got a Rey Mysterio mask when I was younger. Someone I thought was my friend stole it from me. After Carnage and before all the Phalanx family stuff, me and my friend Jake formed a rap group called Shadows in Necropolis Sin, and we wore these like masquerade masks. You know, we found this shop, I think it was like in New York or something. They sold like all these different kinds of colors. We bought these black ones, and then we bought these white ones, but we only used the black ones in videos and stuff. So kind of theatrics and masks, and obviously face paint with Carnage was always something that was intriguing to me. Pretty much, you know, Slipknot, Sleep Token, anything that just had these cool theatrics, you know, I was always drawn to. And, you know, I've had so many different masks. You know, the Cottonmouth Kings, the Pakalika mask, Dark Lotus mask, Rey Mysterio mask. I even got a sewing machine and learned how to sew my own masks, my own Rey Mysterio mask. I had to like make a template and all this. So I got really into masks and making masks and the history behind masks, and it's just all super interesting to me. Me and Jake with Sin, we made one album. We released it on like iTunes. It was called The Silence. It was mostly rap and me with some singing. And that fell apart. But, you know, the idea of masks and doing theatrics with my music has always intrigued me. You know, and more recently, prior to this Hollow project, I did like an anonymous artist thing, and 3D printed and designed, scanned my head, my own mask. And it just got too difficult trying to make content on like TikTok and stuff like that. And I don't know. I just was like, why don't I just be me, I guess? But I've always struggled with insecurity, how I look. Even filming all this has been kind of hard. You know, but I guess you get over it at some point. And then like 2013, 2014, I was just shifty. I was working on my like official album called Absolution. and we formed like this record label where it was me and Corey and Bobby, my friend Bobby, created this rap group called Legitimate Cause, and then the other group was called Wicked Troops. And we started booking shows and doing shows. We had like merch people, we had like a host, we had a manager. So like we would book shows, do these small shows, and put ourselves as the openers. And that was a lot of fun. At this point, I was really into singing. It was kind of a mixture of rap and singing. That lasted a while, but then of course things just went south. You know, things kind of just fell apart, and that was the end of that. It was fun while it lasted, though. We shot some cool videos. This like cypher video where we're like teleporting in like Jumper. But then I continued making beats and helping Legitimate Cause, working on their music, doing all their production, and even doing all their music videos. And I didn't really make music. I made one music video for myself, and it was really bad. It was just like a camera and me just trying to make something. I was always on the other end of the camera, so. But eventually that all fell apart. You know, we all kind of grew up, and they don't even make music anymore. And I did my second album. It was called Welcome the Rain. And around this point, I started learning how to play guitar. Started with an acoustic guitar, eventually electric, and I spent a couple years working on guitar, learning guitar, and then came out with my second album, Welcome the Rain. At this point, I had changed my name. I went from Shifty, which was just like a ridiculous name, to Cody Rain. Cody being my middle name, Rain being my mom's name, Native American. So it was a lot of Native themes. But at this point, so much time had passed, and I think the name change and just everything, people didn't really care when the album came out. It's not like I ever was anything special, but I felt like I had somewhat of a following. But, when that album came out, and I think like one of the only people to buy my album was like a coworker and my mom and my uncle and my cousin. Put all this work into it and was so excited to share it, and then to have it get like no reception, it sucked. So then, yeah, I just, after that album came out, I just continued making music and not really knowing what to do. And at this point, I got really good at guitar. Got a bass guitar, acoustic guitar, and then I got an electronic drum kit, which I was tracking my own drums, tracking, live instruments, guitar, bass. And I've always wanted to do like that hard metal guitar sound, but I just couldn't ever figure out how to get that sound in the production. And my guitar is a PRS. And it wasn't until I found a specific plug-in neural DSP that I finally was able to find like a guitar sound. And at this point, I didn't like the Cody Rain name. I had already kind of worked on a new album that was a little more poppy, and I didn't know what to do with it. So now I'm Dallas Koe, and this album, this rock project, is 10 songs, and it's, 15 plus years of music experience and music passion and different genres that I like into one. I learned how to scream. So much time and effort put into this. And these 10 songs represent moments in my life that maybe I didn't quite process. And these songs have they've allowed me to look back on things that have happened to me and kind of process them into a 10-song album. So I'm doing this live stream in 2 days. I'm a little nervous, right? Because like last time I did like an album or anything, like nobody really cared. And I'm doing this live stream and I'm like, what if people don't show up? I know like my mom will show up, maybe my sister, maybe like a coworker or something, but my friends don't really say much when it comes to my music. I don't know if that says it sucks or it's just not their jam, but some of my closest friends, I barely don't even talk to them anymore. I live in a different town, work in a different city, and I send them my music and I really don't get much back. Jake, he'll give me some feedback, but he's like the only one. And my fiance supports me. She listens to my music, but she's supposed to. My mom will listen. My sister will listen. She'll give me feedback. My dad's gone, so he can't, obviously. But he used to. I think, make up lies that I was like some big star in America or something, because he lived in the Philippines. He was a bit of a storyteller. So yeah, like, I don't have anyone to do like music with anymore. All my friends don't do it. We don't talk music. We barely even talk. I think the last text message I got from Corey was like over a month ago. And I've sent him stuff, My friend Zach, we'll talk every now and then, but I guess he's busy. Or just not his thing anymore, the new music I make. But, I see artists and I see people and I see documentaries and things of artists that have like this support group, and I feel like I don't really have that. I also don't have the creative throughput, right? I have no one to talk music with. I have no one to bounce ideas off of. I miss being in the studio, working with people and coming up with ideas. And I feel like I'm at the height of my production skills, right? Like I'm a professional live sound engineer. It's what I do for my day job, night job. And my production's so good, but I don't have anyone to do it with. And this is starting, I guess, sound like kind of like a pity party or something, but it just is what it is. Yeah, if you're watching this, then the live stream's happening. And I hope you are enjoying it. I worked really hard rehearsing, making these songs. Up until 3 weeks ago, I didn't even know how to play guitar and sing at the same time. So, if you're watching this, if you listen to my music, if you check out my music, it truly means a lot to me. And I hope you enjoy the show.